remember 5th of November. I don't remember the rest of that. Good morning, boys and girls of the internet. Today is Monday, November 5th, and that was a big coyote dead on the floor. Oh well. This will be vlog number 307, I believe. And yeah, ever since Vendetta came out, I pretty much made a tradition to watch the movie on November 5th. I think a lot of people do it. I'm probably not the only one. It's a great movie. I mean, just the overall message of the movie makes it really relevant to today. We've always had corrupt bureaucracies and politicians and people seeking, power and trying to squash the citizens of their countries. And it really just highlights how things can, through the natural progression of politics, how things can devolve so rapidly. I hate to draw this comparison, but I made it many times. A lot of people have made it many times. That you look at how Hitler rose to power. He mainly rose to power through the power of his speech and the power of his fear-mongering. He got fascism rolling through fear. Granted, Germany at the time was going through major economic crises. I don't know the entire history. I know a lot. I know enough. Since World War I, since that was a war, Germany kind of started. They were wrecked economically. They were just completely destroyed, and they couldn't really recover. It took them a long time. But then the Great Depression hit in 1929, and that actually was the first time economies of the world felt that. Our economy crashed, but the whole world's economy crashed, so that really hurt Germany. Other countries can kind of didn't get hit very hard, but Germany got hit the hardest of the European countries, as I understand. So they were needing someone to kind of lead and to kind of characterize what was happening to the country and to put into a leader, I will fix your problems. Here's the issues, and here's how I'll fix them. And he was very good at that, Hitler. But one of the great moral dilemma questions of our age is, if you had a time machine, would you go back and kill Hitler as a child? And most people will just go, oh, of course. And they would do it right away. But with the whole situation surrounding what happened to Germany as a rise of, Nazism came about, as a rise of fascism came about, if you killed Hitler, who's to say that someone else wouldn't have took his place? It wouldn't have been someone else that, with a different name, but with similar ideas, and maybe even a worse person. So think about that. There could have been someone even worse than Hitler that rose up in his place. Because, Germany could have gone many different ways in order to, fix their issues, that they had. However, it was far too easy for them to fall into the trap that they did fall into. So if you had a time machine, I would say go back and fix the problem if you can with whatever caused Hitler to rise in the way that he did. Fix Germany before it devolves into such lunacy that it puts so much power, into such bad ideas. And where the parallel falls is what's going on in this country right now. A lot of people, refuse to see it. A lot of people hate to see it. A lot of people are in denial about it. But the only way I can never be in real denial that it will happen in this country the way it happened in Germany is because Hitler was a smart guy. Donald Trump is not a smart guy. But what could happen is that there could be people in his administration, people around him, his advisors, who may be pulling his strings to kind of push him in that direction of being Hitler-like, in the way of just appealing to your core base. Most politicians, once they get into office and they get their power, they try to reach across the aisle, or you would hope, and to go, okay, let me talk to the other side. This is not what is happening. They have a really strong core base of extreme right-wingers right now in this country that cannot turn. They will not see logic and reason. And the people in power, not Trump, but the actual people in power, know this. And yeah, Trump is he's so easy to manipulate. He's easily doing everything that step by step of how a fascist dictatorship starts. We saw this even before he took office. The demeaning of the press, undermining them, constantly making them the bad guy. I mean, yeah, there's many times in the past in American history where the press has been kind of demonized, and yeah, there might be some there was newspapers for that time who they were manipulative in their news. Yeah, they would give you the news, but they would do it in a way that's manipulative, and that's been happening since the dawn of the press. However, there is still that core principle of the press that they must hold power accountable, and for the most part, that's what the press does. They haven't been doing a very good job of it as late, but they've been doing an okay job. You need to do a better job. I digress. You have people in the administration right now who very obviously just push for worst kind of divisive policies, and I mean, I must give Trump one thing that you can, it's kind of a compliment, is that he knows how to work a crowd, and that works the best for the type of crowds that he's got right now. The very extreme that just drive off extreme rhetoric. I mean, usually once you win the presidency, you don't do political rallies afterwards. And he's done it many times because he loves it. He loves to hear that praise. He loves to hear the chanting. It's all he does it for. And he doesn't care what he says in order to get those chants. He can say the most, vile thing, but as long as people praise and cheer him, he loves it. It's a WWE match for him. He goes out there with his microphone and he riles up the crowd. He's being an idiot by doing it, and I'm sure all the people, the powers that be, kind of look at it and go, haha, yes, keep getting those people riled up. And it's really monstrous, and that's exactly the kind of thing that Hitler did. He had his rallies, and he had his base of people that listened to him and believed him. Believed his fear mongering. When he came out there and he said, "Hey, these Jewish people that they control all the banks. They have the real power. We must fight against that." Say that enough, and then eventually people start believing it. Right now, the narrative floating around the right wing is that we have an invasion of Mexicans. They're not Mexicans, they're from Honduras, but Southern Americans, brown people, Latinos, whatever you want to call them, gang members they call them, and all kinds of whatever words they want to use. This caravan of people coming from the south, and it's an invasion. And it's an invasion funded by Soros. George Soros, a Jew. It all sounds a little bit too familiar to me. And that's the scary part, is that history's doomed to repeat itself for a lot of things. But I never thought I'd see, at least in this country, the history of Germany repeating itself in this country. Germany, a country that we defeated. But we defeated fascism, and it's coming right back up through our country. And people don't see it. I mean, yeah, like, every time I talk about this, I always think back of how a lot of far-right wingers spoke about Obama when he was in office. A lot of things that they said about him is that he was a fascist, he was a dictator, but sorry, there was no way that he did anything like what Trump's doing. He followed rule of law. People say, "Oh, look at all the executive orders he signed. That's like a dictator. What do you think? He's a king?" By the time Obama left office, he led less executive orders than Bush did. You can't deny facts. That's the facts. You could count them. It's not something that's secretive. You can count every single executive order. They're public record. So to say what a lot of people do say, it's ridiculous. There's no way that Obama was any bit fascist. He was a centrist, and yeah, he ran on like hope and change, but when he got to office, for the most part, he was pretty down the line center, and was very, for the most part, establishment. Which that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's a bad thing for a lot of for some reasons, but it's not the worst thing in the world. That's why, like, I never understood when a lot of people were like, so anti-Hillary, because a lot of people say like, oh, she's such a crook, it's a liar. Every politician's a crook. Trump is even more of a crook. If you want to say like, oh, Hillary's a crook and she should be in jail, well, yeah, send her to jail for 20 years, but send Trump to jail for 100 years, because that's the level of difference between their crookedness. And if she did get into office, it would have just been 4 more years of Obama. All the same policies and everything. Nothing would have changed. It would have been status quo. And there would have been nothing really bad about that, in my opinion, because for the most part, Obama pushed for a lot of positive policies. And so in the end, though, we do have a rise of a dictator here, but a dictator that's too dumb to really do anything with it. It's all the other people around him that I'm frightened of, that I'm worried about. And you see it, like, with all those different things that he appoints. You guarantee most of the people he appoints, that it's terrible for the job that he appoints them to. He doesn't know who these people are. He has other people suggest these people, and it's like a snowball. It's like, hey, look at this terrible person over here. He'd be great for this job. And Trump goes, okay, we're winning. Give me a break. So remember the 5th of November. And remember that people should not be afraid of their government. The government should be afraid of its people. It's a great line, and it's absolutely true. Always keep that in mind for yourself and for how you view politics. That the people should have the power. And if we lose sight of that, all is lost. So that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. Talk to y'all later. Love you.